Hey there, welcome to this video. Welcome to my channel. If this is the first time you're here, thank you so much for stopping by. So today's video or series of videos that you'll see here is basically going to be around mental health. So basically a sort of mental health diary of sorts, and I'll just be sharing some things I've been feeling, experiencing, going through, and whatever. Might not be in so much detail, but I guess enough for someone elsewhere to also be like, okay, I get you, I relate as well. And also it's just to normalize it that, you know, it's okay if you're not feeling 100 in the mental space you're in. And it's not, you know, sometimes I feel like it's also okay not to show it, because sometimes I feel like some people use that thing of like, but you know, this person looks so happy and stuff like that. It's like, you know, I don't think you owe anyone you know, anything, like even to show them that you're not doing well. I feel like if you're able to be there with, like, to get to that point where you can be vulnerable and show someone in here you're hurting and stuff like that, it's okay. But I don't think anyone owes you, you know, that kind of, what can I say, access. Yeah. So for today I want to talk about something that I don't know how to explain it, but a friend of mine usually tells me that I have a very active mind, and sometimes that's good. It's good when I'm busy, like, but when I am just left with my thoughts, it's really not the best thing. Just like a day ago, I remember I wasn't able to sleep at all through the night, and I don't know how to explain it, but basically I literally was not able to shut off my brain to sleep. And it's like hard to explain, but literally that's it. Like I could not, like my mind was just like so many thoughts racing, like everything, like nothing I did could literally make me sleep. And I'm not, like, it's not the first time, and I don't know if anyone out there has ever experienced something like that, but you literally can't shut it off and you're like very aware of it. And yeah, eventually I did sleep, but that was like now in the morning, like from 6 a.m. I think to around 11 or 10. And basically at that time I was sleeping because like literally my body was just physically exhausted, so it just shut down. But yeah, so that's something that happened, and I was like, I really don't like it here, you know. And then if you've watched the previous vlog, you have seen that, you know, I went, okay, it's not the previous, oh, like maybe 2 vlogs past, there's a time I'd gone for this paint and sip thing. So we were given something to paint, and it started well. Like there was that inspo, and basically the base of, you know, the background color, whatever, was supposed to be blue, and I had started well doing blue, and slowly I decided to just branch and do something different. But at this point it was still blue. I remember at some point I just decided to like have that blue background and not really replicate the inspo, but you know, I was inspired by a portion of the photo and decided like maybe to draw a flame or something. So that's how I started. But you guys, I ended up having this black canvas, and I just remember like feeling like that was the right thing for me to do, because I was really just feeling like I'm in a dark place, and I was just like, you know, sometimes you don't want anything that just feels nice or looks good. You just really want to, I don't know how to say, express your darkness. So that's how I was feeling about it, and I ended up like just painting this whole black thing. And then for me, I still built on that flame idea, but for me that I interpreted it as like just trying to bring in light in this space that looks so dark. So I remember when I came home and asked my sister what she thinks, you know, I had painted, and she had actually, her interpretation of it was actually what I intended. So it's like, you know, there's like darkness all around you, but like you enter this place and there's so much light. So for me that's what I wanted. Like in my head I was like just like someone walking into this cave of sorts, and like it's so well lit inside, and like there's just this beautiful light, and suddenly things don't seem so dark anymore. So I just wanted to say that, sometimes even how we feel expresses itself in different ways. And for me, I feel like now as I think about it, I can feel like that was how it manifested during that painting session. And I mean, also through other things like, you know, even if you're trying to find joy, sometimes it's so hard if you don't have the resources. Because you know what, if a trip makes me happy, like traveling makes me happy, and I'm just like, you look at your bank account and you're like, oh my goodness, like I cannot afford to go anywhere. It just seems so bleak. But yeah, that's today's entry. And yeah, like to tell you, sometimes your dark beats can manifest in other aspects of your life, and I think it's okay. Also, it's totally normal to have moments where you're overcome by your thoughts, by your feelings, by your emotions, and not have control of it. And also, it's good or it's okay if you're not ready to give people access to those parts of you that you don't want them to know. I remember there's a time I really struggled last year. I didn't share specifically with people like how bad it was, and I remember I finally managed to share with someone. Like sometimes you share things indirectly, but I was very specific with this person and told them this is what I was going through. Like, and it was even so hard to open up. I remember I was just crying because it's like sometimes you feel like it's the worst thing to admit that you struggled with something. And yeah, and I mean, it's totally fine. Oh yeah, I remember I had mentioned also something with sometimes you don't want help, like in a previous video. So I was basically saying sometimes when people share like their struggles with mental health, I don't think all the time you really want help. And by help, I mean maybe someone to offer you a therapy class or someone to do this and that. Sometimes you just want someone to, acknowledge you're at a bad space, and you might want to work it out on your own and stuff. And I feel like sometimes it's okay. I don't think all the time there should be that agenda of once I share something I'm going through that maybe someone feels the need to recommend something I should do, especially if you haven't asked for it. Yeah, so I feel like that's okay sometimes as well. Yeah, so I don't know if I will check in again tomorrow, but let's see how this goes. I was thinking I'll also do maybe a few things that make me feel happy, but yeah, we'll see if that will be part of this video. But yeah, that was today's entry, and I will catch you in the next one. Welcome to today's check-in. So for today I just want to share a bit about, I don't know if I should call it like a pessimistic mindset or something of the sort. So I will like give an example. So usually there's this thing people say that nothing lasts forever and stuff like that, and most times it's usually used as a way of encouraging you that your bad situation won't last forever, like there'll be good times and stuff like that. But you see, for me, when someone tells me like nothing lasts forever, like I also think even the good things, so I'm just like, but is that really a good thing? Is that really something to encourage? Is that encouraging really? Because that means even the good times won't last forever, so like what's the point? And then in the same line, so sometimes when let's say just going about your day, then someone just says something that triggers you, it's a negative comment and stuff like that. I mean, whatever it is that would trigger you, my triggers are different, and of course yours are different and stuff like that. So usually I could have started the day, let's say with someone speaking life to me and stuff like that, but then one comment can literally just make me break down, and I wonder why I easily believe the negatives and bad things, but it takes a while for me to believe anything positive. So it's just that thing of like, such a difficult thing. Like, imagine going about life like that. It's just, oh, it's sad. Like, honestly, it takes a lot for me to like be very positive. Like, oh my goodness, like it's a lot of work, cause literally one bad thing just literally ruins everything for me. And I remember even just like yesterday, I was talking to someone and they made really insensitive comments, and I tell you, I just cried. And the worst part is, it was like lunchtime, I was eating. I just felt like it ruined my entire meal, and I was looking forward to eating, and it was just so, so bad. But yeah, so that was today's check in. Okay, so let's start with a bit of vanity. Got my hair done. I'm so happy. I love it. This used to be my signature hairstyle like in 2019. I think I used to do it so often. This color in black, did bobs as well. So yeah, I love it. Alright, so this is also like my mental health check-in, and it's been a couple of days since my last entry. And I think it's going to be the last one, just because I think the video will be too long, but I think I'll do them as often as I can. Just, I guess, as I had said in the beginning, to just, anyone coming across the video to know that they're not alone, and also I guess to just normalize sitting in your feelings and experiencing things at times. So for today, I wanted to speak a bit about how perspective really helps. Whenever you're feeling down, or just not feeling 100, sometimes it can really help. For some people, I don't think maybe it's like a one size fits all for everyone, but for me it really helps me. So perspective for me, it can be, let's say, unsolicited, yeah, or solicited sometimes. So when I say unsolicited perspective is, let's say, someone randomly texts, okay, yeah, someone randomly texts you, and it could be someone close to you, and like they like just tell you something like, you're doing a good job, you're doing well, or you do a lot, I hope you give yourself credit for that. I really feel like that usually helps, and if the person is specific, it's even better. Where I feel like it's solicited is maybe someone has noticed you're not doing so well, and just maybe sometimes it could be reflected in how you post, because I feel like, I'm also that kind of person. A lot of people, our cries for help look differently. For some people, it's in what we post and share online. For some others, it could be, like this silence that, okay, you're nowhere to be found, or like people can't access you. Like there's so many, I guess, hints that people give when they aren't directly sharing how they've been doing. So sometimes if you're in a good space with someone and you're able to open up to them about how you really are, and let's say from what you share, it's evident that you feel inadequate and stuff like that, and they literally pinpoint to you things you've done. And sometimes it's just so nice to see someone else viewing you from their lens, because sometimes I feel like a lot of things, depending on how you were brought up, I guess how you've been socialized, sometimes you may not ever give yourself credit for that. And if someone can do that for you, it really goes a long way. And I feel like that's something that really helps me. And a friend of mine, I guess, a few friends of mine, but one specifically, I think, she shares that with me a lot. And it's always so interesting for me, because literally, if you ask me right now, I don't think I could confidently speak and say I have things I've achieved, because for me, they don't feel like anything. Like it's just like, no, like that's nothing. Like it just feels like, no, I can't possibly acknowledge this as something I have achieved or something, that kind of stuff. But then like this friend of mine, like she will just say them in a certain way, and I'm just like, wow, like it's just so nice to get that perspective. And sometimes, even if maybe in the moment I don't believe it, I just feel like if someone else believes it, it just helps you a bit more, and you're like, okay, okay. And I think the more you hear it, the more you also start to believe it. And I think ultimately the goal is to be able to be that person for yourself. But I guess the reality is sometimes we are not that person for ourselves. And yeah, I don't think there's need to be shame around it. And yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say as regards perspective, because I feel like that to me, it's still so mind blowing. Like, to me, it's like what it does for my psyche. I don't think I could like adequately express it, but yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing if you're able to be that person for someone. Be that person. And sometimes, it can be interesting that you may not be that person for yourself, they may not be that person for themselves, but you can be that person for each other. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share in this week's check-in. I remember as I was starting this week, today is Wednesday, the 16th of March, and literally I was just so beaten because last week was really tough, and then this week I was like, oh my goodness, I don't even have energy. And that thing of coming from a very mentally draining week to another week where you also feel like it's not even like there's anything productive or exciting to like come back to, like even your life is like it's not even, there's nothing really happening or things aren't really moving. And remember that's how I was feeling like when the week started. And I had a conversation with this friend of mine, and honestly, I feel like he just spoke so much life into my week that now I feel great. Like, I feel like I'm having a good week. I feel like I'm doing well. I feel like I'm starting to be more confident in my own journey, which sometimes is very hard because there's that thing of people talk about comparison and all those things. But to be honest, I think that's one of the hardest things, especially when you see your peers maybe are doing certain things that you feel like maybe you should do. And especially if you're, let's say it's career related, and people are taking a certain specific trajectory in their careers, you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm just at a different place. But see, that's also interesting because these people who I feel like maybe are doing what I would want to do, they also look at me and they're like, wow, like, you've traveled to this place, you visit restaurants and all these things. So someone else also is like, "Ah, I wish I had time to do that," which I think it's just that whole thing of comparison. And I think, as I've said, being on your own journey, confident in your own journey is not easy. It's also very lonely, especially if there is work you need to do to get to where you want. Like that process of building this foundation for the future you want, I feel like it looks like different things for different people. For someone, it can look like pausing certain things and focusing on other things, like, not looking like you're typically progressing, but you're like setting up those roots. And then it's like once you've planted all these things, of course it will take time for it to sprout or blossom and grow into this beautiful thing. But I feel like you'll be so grateful to yourself that you stuck to your own journey. So that's one thing I'm really striving to learn, like to just be confident in my journey, to trust where I'm going, what I want, to achieve, how I want things to happen. And it doesn't matter what, others perceive of that. Like, I'm not on anyone's timeline. Like, I'm doing things that make me happy. And it's also a powerful thing, by the way, to actually choose something that makes you happy as opposed to that which will make others happy. And I also acknowledge, you know, privilege also plays a part, because not everyone can have that luxury of, I don't know, maybe not being in work for a while to, let's say, take a vacation or to do something. So yeah, that's something I'm learning to appreciate my journey, like, you know, in this period that I'm in, like whatever foundations I'm building, just being able to stick through it and still be happy for others who I might think are like way ahead or something. Just knowing that, you know, it's good for them. But they like, I think a lot of times it's hard to internalize that just because things are good for other people, it doesn't take away from our own experiences or even what to expect of us. It's not like there's only a limited amount of blessings or achievements that are at our disposal, and that people are like, grabbing them so that there's none left for others. So yeah, that's something I can admit. Sometimes I do feel like, oh my god, am I being left out? It's just a lot sometimes, but I think slowly and surely I am getting comfortable in what might seem like, a pause or a stagnation or stuff like that. And I feel like that comes with me taking a day at a time, and it definitely eases my, I don't know, my anxiety at times. So yeah, work in progress, but that's how we're feeling. We're good. We take time to feel what we're feeling, and then when we can progress, we progress. And that's just life. Like every day, it's just a new thing to deal with, and I mean, it's fine. Just take it a day at a time. If you can talk to people, sometimes it doesn't really help that, adds in to the points that it will solve all your problems. But honestly, sometimes just knowing someone else relates is just all that you need. So yeah, what I've shared was me trying to tell you, if you're going through any of those things, I relate. And yeah, that's my story, that's my experience. So let me end this video here, and I will definitely see you again when I'm doing other, mental health check-ins and such discussions. I think I might at some point narrow down to maybe a specific thing I might want to talk about. But I've really liked sharing, my feelings, what I've been thinking, and yeah, sharing a bit of vulnerability. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, for real. See you on the next one. If you think someone will, benefit from hearing any of the segments in this video, share with them. You can also leave a comment, and yeah, catch you on the next one. Bye bye.